everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Two Vegans Hanging Out. Today I have my friend Lisa with me, and Lisa and I met at a virtual Vegan Women Summit event, and I'm just really excited to have her here. So, hi Lisa, thank you for joining me.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here too.
I know, I'm so excited that you're here and that we finally made this happen. So just to get started, do you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So as Anastasia said, I am Lisa. A lot of people know me on Instagram as VeganBasil. And for people that don't know, I'm not like a huge fan of basil. Lisa B backwards just spells basil. So I kind of started there and I never really changed the name. I'm from New York, but I've been in LA for almost 10 years now. In December, I feel like I can finally call myself like someone that lives in California. But yeah, I love trying new vegan products, creating vegan recipes. I recently got into fitness. Over the past year, I've been on a weight loss and fitness journey, and now I'm obsessed. I love yoga, running, trying, different workouts. So one of the reasons kind of how we continued to keep our relationship going is I took one of your classes recently too.
Yeah, and that was so fun. I love having friends in my classes. It kind of motivates me to work out. So it's good to have people there to like encourage me too, because I think there's a misconception that trainers or fitness instructors are just like super motivated all the time to exercise, but that's not the case at all for me. So it helped to have you there.
Yeah, and it helps to hear you say that too. Like you have a hard time sometimes also, which makes it, more normalized that I also have a hard time.
Right. So, I'm glad it helps. I'm glad I can inspire some understanding around that. So you did mention that you're on this yoga journey. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what kind of yoga you're doing and what you like about it?
Yeah, of course. So I started really practicing yoga in the last year, probably a few times a week, and now I've worked up to a daily practice. There are so many benefits to doing yoga that I've experienced over the past year that go far beyond just learning the postures and the sequences. It's helped me really have discipline because, you can't always be motivated, but if you have something you're doing every day, it really does help you kind of stay on track. Mm-hmm. It has helped me lose weight, strengthen my muscles, and, gain more balance as well, which is something I really, really was struggling with for a while. And then the other benefit that I've been experiencing is my ability to focus a bit more. I was diagnosed with ADHD last year as well, and has really helped me be able to focus in other areas of my life. And then the last thing I'll say is I'm getting into Ashtanga Yoga, which I'm really excited about. I don't know too much about it yet, but in the physical aspect of it, you're learning a different series of postures, and once you get one down, then you kind of move on to the next series. So I'm excited to start that little journey as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to start incorporating more yoga than I do. I would say I probably only do yoga once a week. And when I do it, I usually do something from Yoga with Adrienne. I think you follow her too, right?
I do.
That's her series. Yeah.
I did her 30-day move challenge in January. So
that's awesome.
It was awesome. She's so great.
She's fantastic. And I love that she has a cattle dog because I do too. And my cattle dog, and you've seen it probably in class, like he hangs out while I have 2 dogs, but he's very clingy. So he's usually in my videos.
Yeah. I love how when Adrienne's dog is like on the little thing looking out the window and she's practicing, like the cutest thing in the world.
Super cute. And she actually, I think she recently did like a full-on cartoon of her dog. It's only for people who have like a subscription with her, so I haven't seen it, but I saw a trailer for it, and she had someone make a full-on like animation about her dog.
Cute.
It's really cute. I know. I want to do the same thing for my pets. It's adorable. I love it. So since this is two vegans hanging out, did you want to tell us a little bit about how long you've been vegan and what that journey's been like for you?
Yeah, sure. So it'll be 6 years, sometime this summer. I've kind of lost track at this point, so I'm just saying 6 years now. Going with it.
Yeah.
At first, when I was younger, I was experiencing a lot of stomach issues that I didn't necessarily talk about because I didn't know what was going on with me. I eventually, got a little older and started trying out different diets. If you can believe it, I was even like paleo, eating bacon every day at one point in my life. I know, it's crazy, but I went through like every diet there was, and then I realized that nothing was working. Like I needed to change my lifestyle. And that's when I came onto veganism and really started to feel better overall. Once I removed, meat, fish, dairy, everything from my diet, I just felt better. And, and now I don't really feel like I gave anything up because the benefits are so great. So that's kind of one of the things I've been reflecting on lately. But one of the other reasons why I became vegan was my grandfather passed away from heart disease a few years ago. And that made me pick up the book, The China Study. I don't know if you've heard of The China Study, but it is like the Bible for vegans. Basically, it is the biggest, most comprehensive study of nutrition there is out there. Wow. And that really solidified my decision to go vegan, just because I know how much it can help in preventing diseases later in life. And then, as time went on, I really wanted to get educated a little bit more. So I actually took the plant-based certification course at eCornell, which is taught by the author of the China Study. So cool. There's a lot of information out there to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think the motivation initially being because of the health of a loved one, right? And I understand that sort of motivation and inspiration. And I think that is important. And I think it's enough to motivate someone to make a positive change. So I think it's really cool that you were able to, take something from that and turn it into something good, because it's terrible to lose a grandparent. And I'm sorry, because I know how hard that is. And I know when that happens too, sometimes we look back and say like, oh, I wish that I had this information then, right? And I could have shared it with that person. So I think it's good that you're making the change now and you're inspiring other people to make the change, which in turn will hopefully prevent them from preventable illnesses that people get later in life because of their food choices.
Exactly. So cool. If I can inspire one person a day to just eat more vegetables, then I feel like being on Instagram as much as I am is worth it.
Right. Right. And I think that's awesome. I know it's hard. There are days when I'm like, social media, but it's kind of the best way to reach the most people right now. And if you've got an important story to tell, or if you know something that a lot of people other people don't know that you want to share, it's still kind of the best way to get it out there, especially during a pandemic. It's just the safest way.
Agree.
Share information. So I'm curious, have your reasons for going vegan or staying vegan changed over the years, or has it kind of been the same motivator?
The early motivators are still there, but I think, my reason for staying vegan has definitely evolved over the years. At first I was going vegan for my health and making sure that I could have a healthy life and a healthy lifestyle. But then, you start to get into everything and think about the environment more and how, your small act of being vegan can actually have a larger impact on the environment, which affects us all. And I also, would be remiss if I didn't mention animal cruelty, which is obviously a huge, huge reason to go vegan and to stay vegan. And I wish we could get more people to kind of see what's going on behind the scenes, so that we could make a larger impact on the animal agriculture industry. But it's hard. It's hard to get people to look at what they don't want to see, but it's one of the reasons that, I'm staying vegan now. So.
Right. That makes sense. And I think it's been interesting, at least on my journey as well. It started out, I was vegetarian first, and part of that was because I had a lot of stomach issues growing up, and I realized that wasn't enough, right? So because I'm lactose intolerant too, and I was like, this isn't enough. I need to take this to the next step. And there were a lot of motivators behind that, but one of the motivators was seeing the documentary Earthlings. And after I watched that, which was really hard to get through, I was like, oh, like there's a lot of reasons why I should make this change. And since going vegan, I guess it's been a couple years now, I've kind of lost track of time, but I released my vegan guide, VegShe's Guide to Veganism, and that actually touches on other subjects that people aren't familiar with as well, like environmental racism and how these choices affect humans as well as animals and the planet. And so I feel like this is one of those journeys where you don't go into it having all this information, but once you're like in it, you're like really in it, and you're super aware of how your choices matter. I think too, it's difficult for people to see kind of where our food comes from and how the food system works in the United States, because those companies are so well protected. So because they've done all this lobbying, and there are like ag-gag laws, and I think it's general farming practices is what they're called, even though they're horrific and very traumatic and dirty and gross and awful, they're protected under like just all of these laws and all of this legislation. And so it's just hard for people to know where their food comes from, because the government and all these companies spend billions of dollars protecting us from seeing where our food is coming from. So it's definitely not what?
It makes me very angry.
I know, it makes me angry too, and it's difficult because I feel like it's not necessarily the general public's fault that they don't know, right? And so now that it's becoming more of a conversation, even in the last couple of years, at some point there won't be an excuse for not knowing, but I do give people the space to say like, hey, I actually just wasn't aware. So it's something that definitely takes time. And actually the New York Times just released a piece in collaboration with Mercy for Animals, and I just saw it the other night, specifically talking about why chicken, like the true cost of chicken, and why it's so cheap. And so I was really excited. My husband shared it with me. I was really excited to see that the New York Times was actually doing a piece on this, because those are the outlets that we need spreading this information. Mm-hmm. So I see that there's a change. It's coming. It's just kind of slow.
Yeah. And that's, I can't ask for anything else. I know that this change is going to be slow, and it's difficult because you do want to, you don't want to support bad agriculture practices. Mm-hmm. You want to, and you don't necessarily want to support, let's say, a dairy farm that is organic. They're slowly moving into the way that we want them to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to make a point, but it's really hard to get across. I just really hope people take the initiative mm-hmm. to learn for themselves, because I think that when you do get into the research, there's certain things that pull you in a different direction, and then you can find what you're passionate about and kind of go with that as your, reason for staying vegan.
Right. That makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. And I think, I think the longer you're living this lifestyle, the more reasons that you find to stay in it. So I think that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see. I have my questions over here. Have you experienced any other changes or shifts in your life because you're vegan? So do you find that any of your extracurricular activities, or like beach cleanups, or I don't know, like, has it changed your life in any other way other than, nutrition choices?
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, it really made me think about what I was consuming. Mm-hmm. I am a better home cook because of it, for sure. And I'm able to, go into the grocery store and really have knowledge before I select any of my ingredients. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's also helped create a little bit less stress for me around food, because I was always trying to figure out these different diets and what worked for me, it was when I completely changed my life and tried to live, a plant-based lifestyle, is when I started to really feel less stressful. You didn't have to think about what you were eating as much. If you just stayed in this one vegan category, you're fine. You can eat as many fruits and vegetables as you want. And over time, that just became easier and easier for me. It's also helped me expand from a professional standpoint as well. I think, as you're trying to get the information out there, you do, meet different people and you hear different perspectives. And I think it has made me more open to that. If someone is against veganism, usually I am very open to hearing why, so that we can kind of have an open conversation about it. And hopefully I can change that person's mind. I mean, there's some people where you're never going to change their mind. Those are the people commenting on my reels on Facebook, but talk about that another time. But yeah, I mean, it's made my life a bit more stressful, and I'm more open to new experiences, new points of views, and really trying to, just expand and live a more kinder life overall.
That's great. Awesome. So since we're talking about food and cooking, do you have like a favorite go-to recipe or ingredient that you like working with when you're cooking at home?
Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about this kind of boring chickpea recipe that I have, but
impossible. I love chickpeas.
I love chickpeas too. They're a great source of protein and I love them. I can eat them every day. But I know from other conversations that you have a bit of a sweet tooth. So I thought I would bring up something else, is my vegan Snickers recipe. I wanted to make the point that you can make anything that is not vegan. So last year I came up with this idea because I was in Michael's, shopping for some other craft that I was doing. And I found these little silicone tray molds. And I really wanted to create something with them. And at the same time, I don't know if you're familiar with bitchin sauce.
I am. I haven't had it, but I've seen it.
Okay, so I think it was last year they came out with a salted caramel sweet sauce.
Whoa.
So I found the molds and I had the caramel sauce and obviously had to make vegan Snickers.
Totally.
I will definitely send you this recipe after because it is so good and I definitely need to make these again soon. So definitely one of my go-to dessert recipes for a gathering, holiday, or something like that.
That sounds amazing. And I want to link that in the description or put that so that people can see it too, because that sounds amazing. I feel almost slightly embarrassed that I come off as someone with a sweet tooth. I don't know why. When you said that, I was like, oh my God. But you're right. And it's true. And I admit it.
I also have a sweet tooth.
I can't help it. I don't know. I'm one of those people who, if I find out that there's a new vegan candy bar that mimics something like what you're talking about, I'll drive crazy distances to find it. I went to Bestie's to get I think it's Go Max Go 2-for bars, and it's supposed to be like a Twix, but it's a dark chocolate Twix, and it's amazing. But no, I've gone to great lengths to acquire.
I think it's a bit of nostalgia, if I wasn't vegan, once in a while I'd go get a Snickers. I would go get a Butterfinger,
Sure.
Here and there. But you really can just have the vegan version these days. So
of everything. Yeah, there's no limit. And it's kind of nice. I think before going vegan, I put all of these preconceived limitations on what that meant. And now that I'm vegan, just the number of new things that I've tried, the things I've learned to make in the kitchen, like you were talking about, it's endless. I don't know. I just think I cook more now since going vegan. I try new things more, and I'm more receptive to trying some random strange fruit or vegetable I've never seen before, right? And I get excited about it, where before it was I'm just going to stick to the same, couple meals that I eat every week, and it's kind of limiting, and I don't feel that way anymore, which is really cool.
I think it also, having all these vegan options now of non-vegan foods makes it easier for someone who is not vegan to transition, because you can have kind of a 1-to-1 replacement.
Yeah.
And then as you start to learn, that some of those replacements could be super processed.
Yeah.
I feel like then is when you start to like learn about vegan nutrition and figure out exactly what your body needs. So I feel like it kind of helps people these days to have those options. So.
I think so. Yeah. I find that now that I've been doing this for a couple years, I'm leaning towards trying more whole food plant-based and less processed foods. I'm still a junk food vegan, but I believe in balance, right? So when I meal prep, I try to make 2 of my meals a day whole food plant-based, and then I leave room for like a candy bar or whatever. But I definitely think I agree with you. I think those products are an important way for people who want to eat less meat to transition to eating less meat, because I've had clients who want to go vegan for their long-term health, but they really like the way meat tastes. And so where with me, when I went vegetarian initially, it was because if I had to eat any more meat or smell it, I was gonna be sick, you know? So there are some people who are like carnivores, but know that health-wise, it's not gonna be best long-term. And so that's what those products are for. And I think it's really helpful. And I think it's funny when people try to get upset about like the Impossible Burger being really processed. But when you sit down to have a hamburger, you're not eating it for your health. It's like a cheat meal. It's like a treat. Yeah. It's like something you eat. Like I have a burger night one night a week. Every Friday night, Brian and I make burgers. Impossible Burgers.
Had a burger night last night too.
But that's awesome. Right. And so I'm not going to eat Impossible Burgers, you know, for every meal every day. When you think burger, you don't think health food. And it's whether it's vegan or it's not, it's weird to have that, like, I don't know, that weird argument about it, because it's not meant to be a health food.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know. But speaking of amazing food, do you have a favorite vegan restaurant? And I know this is tough because there are so many, but
it's such a hard one because they're in LA, they're especially popping up like all the time. There's a new vegan restaurant. But lately, I have been partial to Double Zero in Venice. It's a Matthew Kinney restaurant. I mean, he has a million restaurants, but they have the best vegan pizza, calzones, pasta. It's right up there with Pura Vida.
Okay.
Which I know is one of your faves. But, you know, being from New York, I feel like I can have a strong opinion on crust and on sauce, and they are amazing. I will give one tip if you are going to order it through one of the delivery services like Postmates or DoorDash. I feel like everyone's ordering these days, so it can take a while to get your food. So I would suggest preheating your oven if you're going to order from Double Zero, because nothing is better, I feel like, than a hot slice of pizza versus one that's like kind of lukewarm when you get it through delivery. So that would be my one little tip.
That's awesome. And I think that's a super clever idea, because I think it is sad when you wait forever for delivery and then it gets to you and it's like not hot anymore. So I think that's great. And I love Matthew Kinney and his restaurants, and it's kind of, I'm starting to think I'm going to create a restaurant. I think he's got a restaurant list. It's like 40 restaurants all over the world. I think it's going to be my next bucket list. Like, I think I want to go to every single one of his restaurants.
That's a good idea. I love that.
It's so good. And he's got like, so in Venice, there's Plant Food and Wine. And I guess he has a location in Peru as well. And I was like, what if I could go to, you know, in my lifetime, what if I could go to all these restaurants? Because I'm such a big fan. And then, like you said, Pura Vida, I'm a really big fan of Chef Tara. She's from New York as well. So, and she's Italian. She's Italian and she's from New York. So when she makes her products, she's like coming from, you know, like family recipes and like that, I don't know, culture of sharing food with family and good Italian food. So those are both really great places to get pizza. And Chef Tara's lasagna is really good. Like, I'm a huge fan.
I was so happy you gave me that recommendation, because when I ordered it, it's unbelievable. Like it still doesn't always taste vegan to me. Like it's crazy sometimes when I'm, you know, trying something, especially Veal Life has this new cheese called stuffed like feta.
Oh.
I put it in a salad. It literally tastes like feta cheese. It's kind of like a feta Greek cheese feel, and I like sometimes have to check that it's not really cheese. It tastes so good. It's crazy.
I've been meaning to try that, and I've also been meaning to try Trader Joe's released a vegan feta, but I haven't tried it yet.
That yet either.
Yeah, it's like in a white and blue container. I've seen pictures of it online, but I don't shop at Trader Joe's as much as I'd like to because it's like small and it's so crowded, and it's the one place that doesn't deliver groceries, and I've been trying to avoid like crowded grocery stores.
Parking lots are always terrible.
Parking lots are crazy, but their food is so good, so it's really hard. But their vegan selection has really like ramped up in the last year, so I might need to just schedule a quick trip when it's not busy to go and pick up some of their stuff.
Get there early.
Yeah. So I guess my next question is, do you have any advice for anyone who's considering going vegan and maybe doesn't know where to start or what to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the vein of what we've been talking about this whole time is first and foremost, just educate yourself. Just read, watch documentaries. I feel like those are the two things that are really going to help you get started on the why of going vegan. Mm-hmm. I would also recommend you write down the answer to why am I vegan? Mm-hmm. Because you're going to get asked that question every single day. So you should probably have a response that you don't feel uncomfortable telling other people, because I know it can be kind of hard to explain sometimes. So that's a tip that I would give people. Another thing that you can do, especially, I guess if you're on social media a lot, is create a social account that can showcase your vegan journey. Mm-hmm. I would follow other vegans so that you can start to see how they live their lifestyle. It's been, honestly, after I started my vegan account, it's been so wonderful just joining the community of vegans that are on Instagram, because you don't always have someone in real life to talk to about these deep vegan things that we tend to talk about. So it's been really awesome meeting people like you. There's people all over the world that I talk to now. So being part of a community, I think, will really help someone who's going vegan in the beginning.
That's awesome. And that makes sense. And it's funny because I think we've talked about that before, just even in the last couple years because of COVID. We've met all of these vegans online, but not seen them in person. So they're like real people, but we haven't seen them in person yet, but you feel like you know them because you talk regularly. And
exactly.
So it's kind of weird. But yes, I think the community aspect is super important. And so far, during at least my personal journey in veganism, everyone I've come across has been really friendly, and it's been a really good and positive growing experience for me. And I think one community in particular, the Vegan Women Summit, like where we met, has been such a cool community and group of women, and a lot of the women in that group are entrepreneurs and like me, right? And trying to run their businesses online, and it's such a good community, and there's so much support there. And I don't know, I think it's cool too when you meet people who maybe aren't vegan, and then you can inspire them to make some changes. So like I have a friend who is a baker, and she has her own at-home company, and she does all this baking, and I've actually encouraged and gently inspired her to offer vegan options on her menu. And so now like I promote her stuff because she offers vegan options when she didn't before. And so sometimes she'll mail me stuff that she's made vegan and asks me to try it to see if it like passed the taste test. And I'm like, yes. So even though her company's not vegan, she's kind of, making her options more accessible, which I think is cool.
That's kind of what I was trying to say before. It's like if a restaurant isn't completely vegan, but they start to offer vegan options, like they're obviously moving in the right direction, and that is something that I want to support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So. Yeah, I think so. And I think I think even if someone's not vegan, like I was mentioning, I'm lactose intolerant. It would have been really nice growing up if more places had dairy-free options. And so like I've found a lot of restaurants who will offer like a vegan meat option, but they're still putting real cheese on it or what have you. And so it's frustrating because I want to support that option, but it's still like it's only vegetarian, right? So
you're almost there.
You're so close. And I don't want to go and be like, can you just throw away the cheese that was on top? You know what I mean? Like that's weird, or don't include it. I know. So I think places are trying. And I do like to support places that are making the effort. So like KFC just released their new I think they were Beyond Nuggets.
Nuggets, yeah.
And
Have you had them yet?
yeah, and they're good. They're really good. I know that there are some people who aren't comfortable eating them because they use a shared fryer with their other products. It's not a separate fryer, so technically it's cross-contamination to a certain extent. But if we want to continue to see more companies like this offering things like that, we still have to support them and help people
out. Yeah.
Right. That's the plan, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to try the new Panda Express.
I tried it.
The orange chicken.
It's so good.
The place over here sold out, and they still haven't brought it back. Okay, so it was good.
I ran when I found out that the Panda Express near me had it. I ran over there and got it.
Oh my gosh. So I really want it. And I called the one it was in Pasadena, is the one closest to me, and they sold out like the same day and then still haven't brought it back. And I think they're doing what KFC did, where they had it for a limited time and then worked on I think just they have to be able to meet demand. And then they came back like a year later ready to offer it as a full-time menu item. So I'm hoping that that's what's happening, that they're working on bringing it back. But yeah, I really want to try it because I love orange chicken. So it should be good. So I guess before we go, was there anything else that you wanted to add or share with?
Not really. I just wanted to thank you for having me today. It's always awesome when I have the opportunity to just talk about how I live my vegan lifestyle and show other people, what vegans look like. Sorry, you're above me on my screen, so I'm pointing to you.
She's up here. Right.
You're up there. So I hope that by me speaking out, I can hopefully inspire someone else to, make a positive change in their life. So thanks for having me.
No, of course. And thank you for being here. I mean, the purpose of this series is so that we can show people that vegans don't just look one particular way or have one particular journey or reason or motivation, right? And that we're all just unique individuals, just like everybody else, but with our focus being on a vegan lifestyle. So I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're super busy and you're always working, and so the fact that you took the time to be here today really means a lot to me. And before we go, I'm going to link everything in the description, but do you want to tell everyone again where they can follow you?
Yeah, so you can mostly find me on Instagram. My handle is VeganBasil, and you'll find recipes, product reviews, stories about my dogs, all the fun stuff. So you can follow me there.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us for episode 2 of Two Vegans Hanging Out. There will be future episodes, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can keep an eye out for those. We hope that you found this helpful and informative and maybe inspired you to make a positive change. And we look forward to having you back soon. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care.